everybody. Thanks for tuning in to what will hopefully be the first of many shows we're going to do together. This is Fighting Your Music Mojo. I'm TC Kirkham from TKR Video Central and the Kirkham Report. And that is Dawn from Two Hip Chicks.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
How did we get together?
How did we get together? We found a mutual enjoyment of 45s is the way I look at it.
That's one thing, yeah. I first met you thanks through Record Crate when you were doing some auctions with him a couple years ago. Yep. And we just continued. I came over and joined the Chick Chat every Tuesday and Thursday at Two Hip Chicks on YouTube and have so much fun. And then, of course, you went and started doing auctions, and then I really started spending money.
Exactly. I took my love of music and threw it into reselling and started doing auctions, and boy, did we pad your collection.
Yeah, Don is my enabler when it comes to 45s. And a few albums. Albums. Not many, although you did get me an actual Grail. So...
Which is very cool.
The Barry Manilow Bell issue. I've been looking, I've always wanted that for years.
I love that. I love the fact that we could do that for you.
Yeah, it's very cool. So what this is going to be is just us discussing music and what we love about it, what you can love about it, and making it fun for everybody. Because music, how's the old Mac Davis tune go? Music is the universal language and love is the key. Something that hokey. And of course, my favorite quote I use on my channel and my shows is, music is the glue of the world, Mark. It holds it all together. Without it, life would be meaningless. That's from Eddie, Empire Records. How did you get into music? How did you start collecting?
So, we all start when we're kids, usually, I would assume. And I did that.
Yeah.
And being the youngest of 5 other children, there was a lot of hand-me-down music, which is basically, they all had their own, they all had their own record collections or whatever, or tape collections. 8 tracks were a thing then, too, I believe. And I know, the Bane. Yeah. No, nothing like listening to a lovely album and having a ka-chunk right in the middle of whatever.
Or fade down ka-chunk and fade back up again.
Yeah.
Really
that was horrible. So, I started with a hand-me-down collection of records from my other siblings, and it just kind of went nuts from there. Just always loved records. Collecting, I started collecting mostly because we didn't have a lot of money. I of course, the hand-me-downs, so I listened to those first. Anything I could beg, borrow, steal, or trade. I did not steal records, but I did when I could buy them. Most of the time, I bought the stuff like what's behind me here, like the KTEL.
KTEL presents fantastic 2020 great new songs.
Leave in music, 22 hits, that kind of thing. So that seemed to be the best bang for my buck when it came from music. Besides listening to the radio and recording off the radio, because we've done that too.
Oh yeah.
Stop talking, DJ. I want the first part of this song.
Yeah.
And then it just blew up from there. And as I got older and I, acquired different tastes for different things and had a little more money to spend on them, then I started collecting things. So it just kind of spiraled up and out from there.
And you said you think your most of your collection is on 45s.
A good portion of it, yes. Because
mine is too. So,
a couple reasons. Number one, I used to back in a former life, I would DJ at like weddings and a local bar that would let me, do some DJing there. So a lot of the stuff I bought it was on singles mostly because it was what was hot at the time. So there was country in there and dance and pop and not a lot of disco. That was a little after disco, but. Most of it was 45s, some 12-inch singles, some CDs when those started filtering in. So mostly CDs at that point. So
yeah, and you said we were talking earlier. You said you had probably over 400 albums.
Easy.
Mine. My collection has doubled since the pandemic started.
And
when I got back into it big time.
Big time, yeah. And a lot of that was like reacquiring, right? Like you move multiple times. You either say, I can't keep all this vinyl anymore, and you get rid of it. And then later on you come back and go, why did I get rid of that? So then you start reacquiring.
I've only done one purge, and it wasn't that much. And it was mostly stuff I didn't listen to, and I've only gotten maybe 2 of those back. Everything else has been stuff I've always wanted or
Yeah.
have looked for years or just bought because
Yeah.
I mean, impulse buying. I
Yeah, well,
collect a little bit of
I
everything,
had a
so.
relationship sever, and thus the kids went 2 different ways, and I got all the 45s, and I believe that the other person got all the LPs, but I did get them back eventually.
Yeah. Like you, I started with, I didn't have hand-me-downs from siblings as I'm an only child. It was from my mom. And as I talked about on Influencers a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
she mostly had singles. She didn't get a lot of albums, and she would give those off to me, and she'd buy me Kitty records after she bought me this little GE blue and white
Mm.
suitcase for kids.
Nice.
And boy, that ruined some 45s, but
Oh,
it
honey.
was,
But as you know, we talked. I ruined more 45
yeah.
than you had because I had a close and play.
Yeah, I know. The close and plays were terrible. Yeah, so
God.
that's when I started, and then I got serious about it by the time I was maybe 7th grade, 6th or 7th grade. I was serious about collecting all the stuff and getting in the chart stuff, and now we are here where I'm just kind of obsessed with music again. So
It's a kind of disease I'll deal with. I like it. It works well for me.
yeah. Now you and I have been talking. You've been reselling for how long?
Probably for a very long time. It just was a side hustle kind of thing.
Right. Hmm.
Back when eBay first started, back when you had to accept checks and wait for the check to clear, that kind of thing. So way back, late or mid to late 80s, let's say 90s.
Hmm.
But full time just recently, the last 2 years.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I've always kind of acquired deals and turned around and tried to sell them for profit. So
Yeah, and so when you decided to start reselling vinyl, you
oh,
knew it was going to be tough because there's so many
oh,
people out there that are so picky about condition
yeah,
or whatever. And for you and I, as we talked about when we were discussing doing this, for us it's mostly we would like good condition, but it's mostly about
oh
the
yeah,
music for us, and that's like I
yeah.
know you are a huge Carpenters fan
Hmm.
and you listen to all that. I'm sure some of those have been in less than perfect condition over the
Yes,
years.
yeah.
Yes.
Considered placeholders until
Oh,
such time that I could acquire a better copy. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So it's you go through those. How do you decide when it comes to grading? You're using the gold mine scale.
I'm pretty much using Goldmine, slightly modified Goldmine, in where
Hmm.
on my listings, I put in a little extra sentence that basically gives you a little more of an idea of what the difference between VG and VG plus is,
Hmm.
as far as what you're hearing, because
Right.
they're pretty close. I mean, really, it's just like this one's better and this one isn't. It's the way they word it. So yeah, VG and VG plus. I put in a little statement that basically says for VG, slightly more noise than VG plus or whatever I
Right.
say. Um, but knowing that the medium itself is kind of you can have flaws in vinyl. Brand new vinyl can
Yeah.
have noise on
Oh
it.
yeah.
So, it's to go like near mint or whatever, rare that you find anything that's going to sound that good,
Yeah.
especially out in the wild where people have touched it or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
It's kind of crazy. I've noticed, I'll be honest, everything that you've sold to me over the last couple of years, I would agree with your grading in 99% of the cases. And the
thanks.
ones I didn't, I thought you were grading them too low. So
And
that's,
I've erred on the side. Yeah, I mean, I try to err on the side of I don't know, caution when it comes to
yeah,
vinyl because there are people who are much more picky than you and I are, to the
yeah,
point
there
where
are.
and,
There are people that are
there
way more picky than we are.
and that's their right to do so. I mean, so I'm trying to give them a realistic, and also I think sometimes it depends if I'm grading with headphones on versus through the speakers.
Mm,
If I'm grading with headphones on, I will be a little more harsh because obviously any flaws will be very noticeable
yeah,
in headphones. Where if you're listening throughout the room with a set of speakers on very loud, which my wife will tell you, um, that's the way I grade records, very loudly, loudly. That you're not going to necessarily hear the severity of the noise. Not that it's severe, but you won't hear as much of the noise that you would with headphones on. So
right.
yeah,
90% of the time when you're doing your little listening parties, sometimes after the talk show, I've got my headphones on because that's how I listen. I don't have speakers set up
Yeah.
where because I work on the phone, so I can't
Right.
have speakers on.
No.
And 90% of the time they sound fine. I
Yeah.
mean, they really do. They're nothing that I would ever complain about as far as the
Yeah.
quality of them. And the
Yeah.
ones that do skip or repeat or something, 90% of the time, when as soon as it happens, it comes off, and you go, ah, nope,
Yeah, I
bye
was like,
bye.
"Well, out of here, buddy." Yeah, I'm not even I might try I mean, if it's a rare one or something, I might go in and try to, like, fix it, there's ways to try to get that skip to go away. Check it, make sure it's
Yeah,
not something on the record that you missed with the cleaner or whatever, but,
yeah.
yeah,
Or
most
you
of the
could use
time, it's like,
scrubbing bubbles like Value Vinyl does.
interesting concept. I often worry about that.
Yeah, Steve
Scrubbing
does some
bubbles. Put
crazy
it in the
stuff.
dishwasher. That's about as good.
The dishwasher
Yeah,
would run the label though.
true,
Yeah,
true.
it's like, do you collect any particular artists?
Well, as you're aware, love the Carpenters, so pretty much have
Carpenters.
everything I can put my hands on for Carpenters.
And
Alan
yet you sold me
Parsons,
a Close to You this week.
I did, but I've got a copy. I got a copy. That's the other thing. I mean, yeah, I'm doing Carpenters, Alan Parsons, love, ELO, love. I'm kind of revisiting my Rush days, so I like Rush. There's just wow. So yeah, and I've also required a taste for some of the things that Mary likes. So, she's into Bruce Hornsby and a few other
Mm,
artists that I'm
yeah.
kind of like, I like these. So we're starting to collect those titles as well.
Mm. And obviously you enjoy um you obviously enjoy singing along with music.
Whether it's done well or not, yes. Yes, I do.
Well, nobody. I mean, that doesn't matter whether you're doing it well. It's whether you're enjoying yourself.
So yeah, it's one of those things where remember, you have all those song lyrics in your head, right? And they come out the minute the first few bars are struck on any kind of music comes up, you're like, oh, I know this song. Yeah. So we do when we do our auctions, we do a sing along thing, and it seems to be very popular for some reason.
That's cute. It's fun as hell.
I don't know why, but
I mean, we love watching you and like last week with the Guess Who, These Eyes. You were just having a great time. That was
I haven't
such a
pulled that
fun
yet.
thing.
Yeah.
And Mary, of course, doing her Beaker imitation.
Mary's Beaker is going to turn into a classic thing, I think. When you don't know the words, just fall into a Muppet phase and just go straight to Muppets. And that's what works. So yeah, really enjoy all those artists. And I have this issue where, because I'm a reseller, I'm buying records, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing a lot of bin digging and stuff. I'll buy stuff from the $1 or $2 bins, and I'll try to share them with other people. So it's like there's certain orphans that I cannot. And when I say orphans, I mean like they've got everything. Sometimes people say orphans are like no cover, no disc, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when I find an orphan in the wild that's pretty much complete, but it's just like a record that nobody really wants, I guess. But like Carpenter's albums, they're not that popular, right? Barry Manilow, not that popular. Yeah. Neil Diamond, in certain circles, not that popular. Yeah. Especially if you've got a record, like the record store here, the guy is more into, earlier rock, some jazz, that kind of thing. But he doesn't really have an affinity for any of those artists I've just mentioned. He for a while there, he was giving me Neil Diamond for free. Any Neil Diamond I wanted. So he's like, no, you can have that one as Neil Diamond. It's a joke with us. But if I find like Carpenter's albums in the wild, I bring those puppies home. I play grade those things, and I put them back out into the world to share with other people. Either we put them in our antique booth, which we have, vintage and antique stuff, or we put them online. I rarely put them on Discogs. I don't do that with those, but just kind of share them with people.
Do you find it's a fairly easy market when it comes to eBay or Discogs when selling certain titles? I mean, you come across stuff that's really in demand every now and then.
Once in a while. I mean, Discogs, for a couple reasons, it's great for the oddity and one-off ones that come up that are just like really kind of rare and somebody's looking for them. Mm-hmm. But it is more long tail on there. You get more of an audience on eBay, but then you've got people that will do both. So I guess it just depends on my experience with what has sold and hasn't sold well and what media or what area I go to. So I do a lot at the booth, though. We do a lot. because people love to, touch, feel, right?
Oh
You're
yeah, oh
standing there,
yeah.
you're holding the
I
album.
miss that a lot because I don't go out much anymore.
Yeah,
So
so there's a lot of different booths in this antique mall that we're in, and a lot of them have records, and there's some that are exclusively vinyl, and that's cool. But you'll find that people will hit every one, and I sell a lot of vinyl, even though there's a lot of vinyl in this building.
mm-hmm.
So it kind of surprises me. But yeah, it's the touch and feel of the. It's like one of those things. It's you can't explain it. You gotta just kind
Yeah,
of live it.
it's like
So
actually sitting down and reading a book,
yes,
not a
versus
Kindle, a
yep,
book.
a book
So
exactly.
I mean, I have tons of Kindle stuff. I still would rather have a book.
Sure.
Um, do you when it comes to just I don't know how you are as this goes, but when do you get people asking you, "Hey, I'm just getting into vinyl. Where do I go? What do I
Sometimes,
do?"
yeah. Yep, sure. A lot of times because, we have a reseller YouTube community and we have a vinyl, we have different people that kind of gravitate towards different shows. Like our show, it's not all resellers that watch us 2 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Same with Johnny's show or whatever. It's not just resellers; it's buyers. It's people who have kids who have just started to find vinyl, and there's or they want to take their childhood and go back and find the songs and the records that they love. So yeah, where do I find it? They go on they can walk into Walmart and find vinyl, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's really expensive, right? And um, or they're watching people talk about buying a turntable and you got to spend thousands of dollars on records and the equipment to play them on.
Yeah,
And
the
I'm like,
prices are crazy.
yeah. So I'm like, you really can have fun with records without spending a ton of money.
Yeah, you can actually. Yeah,
I mean,
buy bargain bin. I mean,
yeah,
90% of the people, maybe not that many, maybe 70% of the people on the VC are big bargain bin people. Even
oh
though
yeah,
I mean they'll grab stuff that nobody expects. I do that too. I mean, I go on Discog sellers and find stuff for $1 and $2. I'll do set
yeah,
aside some money and just go splurge once or twice a month. And
yeah.
just on stuff that sounds good or stuff I've always wanted that they
Mhm.
have for $2 and $3 that were $8 or $9 when they first came out when I saw them. And of
Yep.
course now, trying to find something new now is the minimum is going to be 20, and
Right.
if you're not, if you're looking
Oh
for
gosh, yeah.
specialty stuff, you're talking 40, 50
Right.
record
Yeah,
store
and
day.
I think people get kind of intimidated by that
Hmm.
because they're like,
Yeah.
well, I'd love to get back into vinyl, but man, I can't afford it. Yeah, you can. You just got to look in the right place.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of different little mom and pop record stores popping back up again, which is
Mhm.
lovely.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
nice.
I mean, I can go in. I can go. We're a smaller town. We're not a big town. But there's a record store, in our town I can go to. There's one in the town I grew up in, which was also a smaller town that I got to get back to because they have a really good dollar bin. Lots of awesome stuff. But yeah, you'd be surprised. Just kind of check around, ask around, look around, and see what you can find. And you might just, you know, find a little honey hole that you get to go to and just kind of grab a chair, grab a bin, sit down, start digging through it, and you never know what you're going to find. There's some
Yeah,
gold in there.
the nice thing about everything now is I've noticed now that I'm actually getting back into things and I haven't gotten out to them, there's a lot of independent places
Hmm.
opening in Boston, in Cambridge, in Somerville. Um, Unfortunately, all the ones that we used to go to were all chains are long gone.
Oh yeah.
Transworld, most of their stores are gone out of Massachusetts completely.
Hmm.
Of course, Sam Goody's gone,
Gone.
Camelot's gone.
Yep.
The only thing left is Newberry Comics, and they're everywhere, so you can go in but
Hmm.
they've even cut way back. They were for the longest time they were mostly CDs. Now they have one tiny rack of CDs, a few more vinyls, and they've gone nuts for like pop culture stuff, like pops and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and just even one rack of comics. So it's not nearly what it used to be for them either.
Yeah.
But I wish that we would get the one little place we loved, Kim and I loved, was a place called Rocket Records in Saugus. They
Oh.
closed in the late 90s or early 2000s.
Mm,
And there's no mom and pops anywhere near us. So we have to go into town if we
that's
want
a
to go to
shame.
any.
Um, the other thing would be check. I mean, yeah, thrift stores sometimes have them, but they have a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that's just not in great shape or whatever, or
Hmm.
smells mildewy or whatever. But check with the antique vintage malls and places where like you think that a bunch of geriatrics would go in there, but a lot of them now are carrying vinyl and at a reasonable price. They're also carrying comic books.
Yeah. There's an antique store in Salem that has a pretty large vinyl area, even though they do tend to overprice the used stuff, looking for $8, $9, $10 for it, and on some titles. But we go around here. I went to a Savers a few months ago. I actually decided to go digging for the first time in a long time, and I went to the local Savers and found a couple albums where they were like $2 a piece, and it's like they were in good shape and nothing anybody else would buy. One of them was by Pia Zadora, and the other one I don't remember who it was by. But it's gotten harder to find that way up in my area now. When people go out looking for records, it is getting easier because some of the big box marts are handling them. And they run specials all the time. I know Walmart's notorious for running specials that get people in the vinyl community in trouble all the time because everybody goes to them. They're like, oh, well, we support indies, but damn it, Walmart's too good of a price on these. I'm sorry, I don't buy from Walmart. I don't like Walmart, but the even Barnes and Noble's gotten back into it. They have a huge section of vinyl, so it's getting easier, and more people are getting into it. We were both young when we got into it, little kids.
Thank you. That's generous of you. Thank you. We were both young once.
How did you approach it when you were a kid, and is it different today? It is obviously different today because prices are so different.
Yeah, well,
and Columbia House and RCA aren't around anymore.
It's another good way to get some records if you could work it right.
13 records for a penny, you betcha.
Penny, and then move away and never come back. Yeah. So when I was a kid, and I was but a wee child, a wee lass, we didn't have any record stores near us, but we did have a Meyer Thrifty Acres, and they had records. So did Kmart, right? So like kind of what Walmart does now, only more. I don't know. They had a better selection, for sure. That's where
Meyer,
you get your stuff. And
got to ask you, Meyer, Meijer, Meyer.
Yeah,
is that okay? Because they had those in Ohio when I was growing up too.
Yeah,
They
started Meyer 50 Acres. They were called or whatever. Yeah, they had record sections, and they had music. They had records and tapes. You could get it either or. Before CDs were a thing, even.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of my K-Tel stuff from there. Ronco and K-Tel, I should say. But a lot of the stuff I bought when I was younger was new because it was new. It was in medium. I mean, records have been around for a long time. But if you wanted new releases, you bought new records.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can go digitally online and download it, or you can, watch it on YouTube to determine if you like it or whatever. But back then, you heard it on the radio, and then you went out and bought the 45 if you were cheap and couldn't afford everything, or you bought the album and prayed to God the rest of the album was as good as the single you wanted.
Man, you could tell we grew up in the same era, can't you?
Exactly.
It's exactly the same thing with me. Like you said, today's kids have a lot bigger option when it comes to streaming. They can try things out. They can just stream. And I feel one of the things that bothers me about some people, there's certain factions that don't do digital music at all. And today's artists are 90% digital, and you can't get them on hard. I'm always harping on the artists that I like, and I've actually corresponded with some of them that I've had
some vinyl,
I've actually corresponded with a few of the younger ones. I featured an artist you should know on the Kirkham Report. I'm like, get physical media out there. I can help you sell this. I can sell you to people if you have a CD or a cassette or an album. And a lot of them are doing that. I mean, there are some young artists that know the importance of physical media, but so many of them just go digital, and it's like, I love digital. I don't mind it at all, but it's hard trying to get people into new artists that don't do anything but digital music. That's one of the big problems I have with some of the people in the vinyl community.
Yep, it's true. And what people who are getting back into vinyl now have a I mean, YouTube and a couple of other video / audio services out there besides Pandora and such, because you really
Mm-hmm.
can't control that. But you can
No.
literally go look on YouTube and find a complete album of whatever
Yeah.
from whenever,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, if I want to go look up, let's say, Alan Parsons Project, if I want to find the whole album and listen to the whole album of Alan Parsons Project, I can. I'd rather have it on vinyl, of course, but
Yeah.
people who are, so it helps you nowadays as far as if you want to get into vinyl and you want to know what you might like to buy, go sort through bins first of all, and if it looks interesting, buy it and play it, because it's probably only $3 or $4, if that. Sometimes it's $1. But
Yeah.
also, if you find an artist you like, then go to YouTube, find out what other songs they have that you like, and then go get them on vinyl. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah. That's the one thing I miss most of anything about the current market is there's no cutout bins. I
Yeah.
used to buy, I mean, 30% of my collection came from cutout bins.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had one, I had actually told the story on the website, but one summer in the 80s, we had a new discount store open up down the street from us, and they were selling albums. I mean, name albums for 10 cents a piece. I must have bought 300 albums that summer.
Now explain what a cutout is for those who are listening or that don't know.
Yeah, cutouts are overstock that didn't sell from the original record label. They'll put a notch or a hole in it.
Yep.
And they differ from a promo that has a notch or a hole. You can usually tell the difference between the two of them. And they sell them at, vastly reduced prices.
Yeah.
And
that was a great source for
for
music.
I miss that so much. And I miss 45s. I mean, I went to cassette singles for a while and CD singles, but 45s were still great. And I mean, I miss those, and I obviously, because I've been purchasing them hand over fist from you and Mary, but
your packages are ready to go too. Packages in the mail.
A lot of great stuff that I've never had that I like. A lot of stuff that I have had that I can pass on to other people or sell or whatever. And it's nice to be able to do that again. And unfortunately, people don't have a way to do the 45 singles anymore unless they're digital. They don't release physical media for singles anymore. They haven't since the late 90s.
So even record store days, you can't get a special pressing of whatever?
You can get a few 7 inches on or 12-inch singles on record store day, and they're usually like stuff that you would never want on. I personally would never want on this. Except
I mean, I guess stuff. I don't know if my taste is just weird or what, but there's a lot on record store days that I don't really care about.
Yeah, I know. Everybody else is going gaga for all the jazz stuff, and here I am bopping in with my Jonathan Winters comedy album from there. And this is like this year's record store day. I don't know if I'm actually going to spend much because there's only 2 or 3 things that I really want. One of those is way more expensive than I'm willing to pay. I think $46.99 for a 2 record set of Sheena Easton's 12-inch singles is way too much money. But the rest of them, I'll probably pick up a couple, but I'm also at the mercy of online because I have not ever been to a physical record store day. I don't intend to go deal with that mess. I know my friend Katie loves doing that. I know a lot of people love doing it. Adam at Record Crate loves having people come in. But I got everything I wanted last year, and I did it all by mail order.
Well, that's good.
So, I mean, that was pretty amazing because the previous year I didn't have that luck. I didn't have that luck in 2020. So
you are the smartest one here, I think, because you did it that way. I don't usually go to those because I get a look at what's out there, and I'm like, and I just go a couple days later to see what's left and if there's anything that really strikes me or whatever. But usually I don't spend much time on that. I'm usually either digging in the bins or looking through, the new arrivals. Which, if you're going to a used record store, of course, there are new arrivals that came in that they recently purchased from somebody, estates or whatever, or people just decided to sell their record collections. So
and I mean, most used record stores or most mom and pops carry a pretty big selection of new stuff too, as well as the used stuff.
Yeah.
When it comes to today's audience, to the kids that are looking at vinyl and going, "Wow, this is interesting."
To the kids out there.
Are we? Yeah, I know this sounds terrible because I'm
Children.
like, oh, those kids
Come
today,
come closer to the monitor. Yeah.
So many times they're getting razzed at by people who've been collecting for years, like you and I, for the smaller, less expensive equipment, or not really knowing stuff about that. And I always, as we were talking, it's important to nurture this new interest and make it grow. Otherwise, what we have now, what's come back, is going to slip back again.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, don't. It's an honest and excitement in the people who are just getting into it. So please don't stifle that by being a jerk and snooty. I guess is the nicest way to put it. Don't be snooty about your vinyl.
It's always fun to find new stuff too. Like stuff that Glamma's Closet has been purchasing, that she's beat me a couple of times on the 45s. Yeah, and he's loving every second of it, even though he's probably never heard any of those songs.
Well, the cool thing is, it's all new, right? To them.
Yes, exactly.
We've heard 15 remakes of whatever songs we already know, but it's new to them. So what's really cool about that is they will hear something that we don't hear because we've heard it so much. It's kind of like driving down the road and seeing the same billboard over and over again. You know what it says, you don't even see it anymore. But these kids, it's new, and they're like, oh my God, I don't know, Styx is really good, I can't believe this, so it's kind of cool to relive that excitement.
Yeah.
And then re-listen to things, because at that point you go, well, maybe I need to re-listen to that again.
See, that was the whole point of me getting into online stuff. I first did it in 2018, and it didn't last because I kept getting blocks and pops and stuff. But I finally figured out how to get around that, work around it, and it resulted in the launch of the Daily Obscuria. My whole point of doing that is to make people listen to stuff that they've either not heard in ages or maybe have never heard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff on there I'm sure you've never heard.
Oh yeah. And I actually try to comment on all of them.
Yes, you do. I really appreciate that.
A good YouTube friend. But yeah, the ones that I know, it's like, oh my God, I haven't heard that in years, right? And the ones I don't know, it's like, wow, okay. I had no idea. So
I just have so much fun doing that. And it's so much easier with the new layout that I can do it so much. Although it takes longer to process because it's all like graphical in the background and stuff.
Very
but the
much
new layout makes it easier to do.
I like the new layout. It's easy to read the blurps.
That was part of the big problem I wanted to get over, was the little tiny ones. And I'm like, wait a minute, we had the split screen thing. Why don't I use that? We forgot a way to use that.
It's a learning experience.
It is. But that's one of the reasons I do that, is because I want to share what I love with other people. And some people, I got a couple of snarky comments a few weeks ago when I did Du etre bébé from Geordie.
Cute song.
And it actually hit the Hot 100. It went to number 70 something.
Cute as heck.
And was the number one hit for 15 weeks in France. I'm like, I do all kinds of weird stuff. That's what Obscuria is about. And that's the same reason I do influencers, talking about the different the different artists that I enjoy, or family that have been influencers. And I will be doing some TV shows and stuff over the course of the time. And it just makes it so much fun to share. And I think that's the big thing about today's generation of vinyl people, is that we need to share what we know. And most of the vinyl community is centered around classic rock or metal or whatever. And that's a great place for the kids that are into that. But a lot of them that might be into pop or R&B or dance don't really have a lot of places to go. So, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, really. Come on down. Yeah. I mean, the best advice I can give anybody who's just getting into it is find a local shop if you can. Mom and pop is great. Or find maybe somebody has a booth in an antique mall or whatever. Find that person, get to know that person, and then when you're looking for something special, they're the person that'll probably find it for you.
Yeah.
Because you can go online and buy it, but sometimes there are some unicorns out there that you just cannot find. And you can search and search and search. I mean, the hunt's fun too, but usually if I put a bug in, Tom is the guy who owns our record store. locally. If I put a bug in Tom's ear, he can usually pull things for me and get decent copies of things for me. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's like I always do with you and with Adam. If I'm looking for something special,
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it through and say, if you come across this, let me know, whatever.
Yep.
And it usually pays off pretty well for me. Obviously, I've added so much crap to my collection here.
It's okay. It's okay.
And there'll be more coming because now I'm at the point where I'm ready to do the big
Oh, nice.
renovation in the closet where I can get all my 45s and CDs out of the closet and shove all the other crap I don't need into the closet.
Are you going to
And
be
then
making
start
a
putting
video
them
of this?
the cleaning, no, but when they get done, it'll be
Oh, the before and
shown
after. You could do a before and after. That would be fun.
Yeah, I remember how
Maybe
you
not.
always are promising to do stuff like that, and they never
Yeah, it
get
didn't
out.
work out. You're right. Yeah. No, never mind. Retract that statement.
Well, it's been great. I hope we
Yeah.
have a chance to do this again about music, and we can discuss what we're going to do sometime. But
Yeah.
I think if basically our point of this show is to enjoy what you do, enjoy your collection. Don't
Mhm.
let anybody give you any crap. And if
Yeah.
you have, I mean, because some people will give you crap about what you listen to or what you listen to it
And what
on
you
or
listen
through.
and what
You
you
know,
listen to on what you play it on. Come
yeah.
on. I mean, not everybody can afford hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. Get yourself a Crosley, throw a record on it, and play
Oh,
it if
Crosley,
you have
those
to.
suck. Those are gonna
I
ruin your
know.
records. Ugh.
It won't ruin it, but it probably will make you wish they were ruined. I don't know. No. Crosleys aren't that bad. There are decent
As they come along, no, they're getting more and
there
more decent all
yeah,
the time.
there are decent ones out there. And it's just increase and get better at what you play it on as well as increasing your collection. And
Yeah, it
if it
comes with
makes you
time.
happy doing
You
oops,
earn more and you come forward more and get more
yeah,
expensive equipment, however you want to. With
just
me,
enjoy
it's
the music.
just
That's the main
exactly
thing.
music is the top thing. Dawn, thank
Yeah.
you. It's
Thank
been
you for having
fun.
me. It was fun. I had a good time. Thank you so much,
All
sir.
righty. We'll see you all later, and hopefully another episode of this will be coming along shortly. So until then, till next time, what is it I always say? Ciao, baby.
Ciao, baby. Peace. Bye.